you go through the good times, you go through the bad times, both personally, but also within a relationship as well. And, I think if you can come out of that stronger.
She disappeared for 2 years. When Princess Catherine finally returned to Windsor Castle, gasps echoed through the hall. The gown was stunning, the tiara, legendary. But it was the necklace that stopped hearts. $85 million of diamonds with a history so powerful, only one other royal was ever allowed to wear it. What happened during those missing years?
I think has to be going around the nation when we launched the survey. And I got to meet loads of amazing families, loads of amazing parents, hearing firsthand what they were going through, what their experiences of parenthood was really like, but also meeting amazing people who had done fantastic work up and down.
Why did the Queen trust Catherine with her most guarded treasure? And what message was she sending the world? The Princess of Wales arrived at the state dinner honoring United States President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump, wearing an exquisite floor-length gown that seemed to capture moonlight itself. The dress, designed by acclaimed British designer Philippa Leplay, featured a hand-embroidered gold chantilly lace evening coat, layered over a silk crepe gown. The intricate gold-corded roses, French knots, and satin florals adorning the lace coat caught the warm glow of the chandeliers, creating an almost ethereal effect as she moved through the historic halls. But it was not simply the gown that drew gasps and admiration. Resting upon Catherine's head was the legendary lover's knot tiara, a piece of jewelry with a story spanning generations. Originally crafted for Queen Mary in 1913, this magnificent tiara features cascading diamonds and pearls arranged in an intricate lover's knot design. The piece later became one of Princess Diana's signature accessories, and seeing it grace Catherine's head created a powerful visual connection between past and present. The tiara seemed to shine with particular brilliance that evening, perhaps reflecting the significance of the moment itself. Catherine's appearance at this state banquet carried a weight far beyond fashion or protocol. This was her first state dinner in nearly 2 years, marking a profound milestone in her personal journey. For those who had followed her story closely, seeing her stand tall and radiant in Windsor Castle represented something much deeper than royal duty. It represented triumph, resilience, and hope. The previous months had been extraordinarily challenging for the Princess of Wales. In March 2024, Catherine had shared deeply personal news with the world, revealing her cancer diagnosis. The announcement came after weeks of intense public speculation about her absence from royal duties. With characteristic grace and honesty, she explained that she would be stepping back from public life to undergo preventative chemotherapy. The news sent shockwaves through Britain and around the globe. Catherine had always seemed the picture of health and vitality, a young mother of 3 who championed outdoor activities and wellness. The diagnosis reminded everyone that serious illness can touch anyone, regardless of status or circumstance. Throughout her treatment, Catherine maintained her privacy while occasionally sharing updates with the concerned public. In September 2024, she announced that she had completed her chemotherapy treatment, describing herself as cancer-free. The relief was palpable across the nation. Then in January 2025, she confirmed the news that millions had been hoping to hear. She was in remission. The formal announcement came during a visit to the Royal Marsden Hospital in London, the very place where she had received her treatment. It was a moment of gratitude, hope, and looking forward. Her return to public duties was gradual and thoughtful. Catherine did not rush back into the relentless schedule of royal engagements. Instead, she carefully chose events that held personal meaning, appearing at significant occasions while continuing to prioritize her health and family. By September 2025, when the American state visit was announced, there was genuine excitement about whether Catherine would participate. When Kensington Palace confirmed she would attend both the ceremonial welcome and the evening state banquet, the news was met with joy from royal watchers and the general public alike. The September state dinner represented more than just another royal obligation. It symbolized Catherine's full return to one of the most demanding aspects of royal life. State banquets require hours of preparation. physical stamina to stand through lengthy receiving lines, and the mental presence to engage with numerous dignitaries and guests throughout the evening. For Catherine to take on this responsibility so soon after her health struggles demonstrated remarkable strength and commitment. President Trump, seated between Catherine and King Charles during the dinner, made his admiration abundantly clear. Speaking at Windsor Castle, he addressed Prince William and Catherine directly, saying that he and Melania were delighted to visit again with the royal couple. He described Catherine as radiant, healthy, and beautiful, calling it a great honor to be in their company. The president's words, while perhaps more effusive than typical diplomatic language, captured what many in attendance were thinking. Catherine did indeed appear radiant. There was a glow about her that went beyond the magnificent gown and jewels. It was the glow of someone who had faced darkness and emerged into light, someone who had been tested and proven her inner strength. The guest list for the evening reflected the significance of the occasion. 160 people attended, which according to palace officials is the standard number for a state banquet. The attendees included members of the Trump family, such as Tiffany Trump and her husband Michael Boulos, along with high-ranking American officials including Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Secretary of the Treasury Scott Bessent. Corporate leaders like Apple's Tim Cook and OpenAI's Sam Altman were also present. The gathering represented a cross-section of political, business, and diplomatic relationships between the United Kingdom and the United States. For Prince William, the evening held its own emotional weight. Throughout Catherine's illness, he had balanced his roles as concerned husband, devoted father to their 3 children, and future king with numerous royal responsibilities. He had reduced his public engagements during the most difficult months, clearly prioritizing his family's needs. Now, to stand beside his wife as she took her place at such a significant royal event must have been deeply meaningful. The couple was photographed holding hands as they walked outside Windsor Castle before entering for the banquet, a rare public display of affection that spoke volumes about their partnership and mutual support. The behind-the-scenes photograph they later shared on their social media showed them as partners in every sense, walking hand in hand toward their duties. It was a simple image, but one that resonated with millions. Throughout Catherine's health journey, William had been her steadfast supporter, and this evening represented a shared victory of sorts. They had weathered an incredibly difficult storm together, and here they were, fulfilling their roles with grace and unity. The choice of venue added another layer of significance to the evening. State banquets are sometimes held at Buckingham Palace, but Windsor Castle holds special meaning for both the royal family and British-American relations. The castle, begun by William the Conqueror in 1070, has stood for nearly 1,000 years as a symbol of British monarchy and continuity. King Charles referenced this history during his toast at the dinner, noting that his son Prince William, who shares the Conqueror's name, has made Windsor his home with his family. The castle grounds are where William and Catherine's family residence, Adelaide Cottage, is located. They had moved there in September 2022, seeking a more private and grounded environment for raising Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Catherine's styling for the evening reflected her signature approach to royal dressing. The high neckline and long sleeves of her gown struck a perfect balance between modesty and elegance. Her blonde hair was styled in soft waves, pulled back to showcase both the tiara and her face. She wore her royal family orders, including those from both Queen Elizabeth II and the new standard from King Charles, along with the GCVO star and sash. Every detail had been carefully considered, creating a look that honored tradition while remaining distinctly contemporary. The image of Catherine that evening, moving through Windsor Castle's historic rooms with quiet confidence, will likely become one of the defining photographs of her time as Princess of Wales. It captured not just her physical beauty, but something more enduring. Here was a woman who had faced one of life's greatest challenges, who had been forced to step away from public life during her treatment, now returning stronger and more purposeful than ever. Her presence that evening sent a powerful message about resilience, about the importance of health and family, and about the continuation of service even after personal hardship. The jewelry Catherine wore to the state dinner, told stories that stretched back decades, connecting her not just to the late Queen Elizabeth II, but to generations of royal women who came before. Each piece she selected carried historical significance, and together they created a visual narrative about trust, continuity, and the careful passing of treasures from one era to the next. The Lover's Knot, tiara, that adorned Catherine's head that evening, is perhaps one of the most recognizable pieces in the entire royal collection. Its history begins with Queen Mary, the grandmother of Queen Elizabeth II, who commissioned the piece in 1913. The design features 19 diamond arches, each topped with a lover's knot motif and suspending a teardrop pearl. The craftsmanship is extraordinary, with the diamonds set in silver and gold, creating a piece that manages to be both substantial and delicate. The tiara can also be worn as a necklace, a versatility that many royal pieces share, though it is most often seen in its original form. Queen Mary was known for her love of jewelry and her keen eye for exceptional pieces. When she commissioned this tiara, she was already well established as queen consort, and the piece reflected both her status and her refined taste. After her death, the tiara passed to her granddaughter, Queen Elizabeth II, who wore it regularly throughout her long reign. However, the tiara became truly iconic when the Queen loaned it to her new daughter-in-law, Princess Diana, following her marriage to then Prince Charles in 1981. Diana wore the Lover's Knot tiara frequently, and it became one of her signature pieces. Photographs of Diana wearing the tiara at state banquets, diplomatic receptions, and royal galas are among the most memorable images of her time as Princess of Wales. The piece seemed particularly well suited to Diana's graceful bearing and classic style. After Diana's death in 1997, the tiara returned to Queen Elizabeth's collection, where it remained until the Queen began lending it to Catherine. Catherine first wore the Lover's Knot tiara in December 2015 to the annual diplomatic reception at Buckingham Palace. The appearance created immediate headlines, as it marked the first time the tiara had been seen in public since Diana's death nearly 2 decades earlier. For Catherine to wear such a personally significant piece associated with William's late mother was deeply meaningful. Since that first wearing, Catherine has chosen the tiara for numerous important occasions, and it has become one of her most frequently worn royal jewels. She wore it again at the French state dinner in July 2025, pairing it with a striking red gown, and now here it was again at the American state banquet, proving that Catherine has truly made this historic piece her own, while honoring its connection to Diana. While the tiara captured immediate attention, another piece Catherine wore that evening carried even greater monetary value and historical weight. Though not visible in every photograph from the event, Catherine had access to and has previously worn what is known as the Nizam of Hyderabad necklace, one of the most valuable pieces of jewelry in the royal collection. This extraordinary necklace is estimated to be worth approximately £66 million, which translates to roughly $85 million. The necklace is a masterwork of Art Deco design, created by Cartier in the 1930s and featuring 13 emerald-cut diamonds set in platinum, with smaller diamonds creating an intricate geometric pattern. The story of how this necklace entered the royal collection is fascinating in itself. In 1947, when Princess Elizabeth was preparing to marry Lieutenant Philip Mountbatten, gifts poured in from around the world. Among the most generous was Mir Osman Ali Khan, the last Nizam of Hyderabad, who at that time ruled over what was one of India's wealthiest princely states. The Nizam offered the young princess an extraordinarily gracious gift. He told her she could visit the Cartier showroom in London and choose whatever jewelry she wished, with no limit on cost or quantity. From this remarkable offer, Princess Elizabeth selected a diamond tiara and the matching necklace. Both pieces featured English rose designs, a thoughtful choice that connected the Indian gift to British symbolism. Queen Elizabeth wore the Nizam of Hyderabad necklace throughout her 70-year reign, and it became one of her favorite pieces. However, what makes this necklace particularly significant in Catherine's story is that she is the only other person, apart from Queen Elizabeth herself, who has ever been photographed wearing it. This is an extraordinary mark of trust and favor. Royal jewelry is often loaned to various family members for important occasions, but certain pieces remain closely held. The fact that Queen Elizabeth personally loaned this necklace to Catherine speaks volumes about their relationship and the late Queen's confidence in her granddaughter-in-law. Catherine first wore the Nizam of Hyderabad necklace in February 2014 to a gala at the National Portrait Gallery in London. The appearance made headlines around the world, with jewelry experts and royal watchers immediately recognizing the significance of the piece. She wore it again in December 2019 to a reception at Buckingham Palace. On both occasions, Catherine styled the necklace simply, allowing the extraordinary diamonds to take center stage. The geometric Art Deco design of the necklace works beautifully with modern fashion, despite being nearly a century old, demonstrating the timeless quality of truly exceptional jewelry. The relationship between Catherine and Queen Elizabeth II regarding jewelry was carefully cultivated over many years. When Catherine first joined the royal family in 2011, she had access to certain pieces, but the most significant items remained firmly in the Queen's control. As Catherine proved herself through years of dedicated service, as she took on more responsibilities and demonstrated her commitment to royal life, the Queen gradually granted her access to increasingly important pieces from the collection. Other significant pieces Catherine has worn from Queen Elizabeth's collection include the Japanese pearl choker, a 4-strand pearl necklace with a curved diamond clasp. Queen Elizabeth commissioned this piece from the House of Gerard in 1980, using freshwater pearls that had been given to her by the Japanese government during a state visit in 1975. The Queen loaned this necklace to Princess Diana, who wore it memorably to a banquet at Hampton Court Palace in 1982. Catherine first borrowed it in 2017 for Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip's 70th wedding anniversary. She has since worn it to several significant events, including Prince Philip's funeral in 2021 and Queen Elizabeth's funeral in 2022, making it a piece closely associated with moments of both celebration and mourning. Catherine has also worn the Bahrain diamond and pearl drop earrings, which were given to then Princess Elizabeth as a wedding present in 1947. These elegant earrings feature a round diamond, followed by a circular diamond arrangement from which 3 baguette diamonds are suspended, with a round pearl at the bottom. The earrings were crafted using pearls from a shell containing 7 pearls that the Hakim of Bahrain gave to Elizabeth as a wedding gift. Queen Elizabeth occasionally loaned these earrings to both Princess Diana and Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, but Catherine has become their most frequent wearer in recent years. Another historically significant piece Catherine has worn is the Greville chandelier earrings. These spectacular platinum and diamond earrings were originally made in 1929 by the House of Boucheron for Margaret Greville, a society hostess and jewelry collector. When Greville died in 1942, she left much of her jewelry collection to Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, who later gave these particular earrings to her daughter, the future Queen Elizabeth II, as a wedding present in 1947. The earrings feature a distinctive chandelier design with pear-shaped diamond drops, each weighing approximately 20 carats. Catherine has worn these earrings to several high-profile events, and they have become one of her preferred choices for very formal occasions. The careful selection of jewelry for state occasions is never random or merely decorative. Each piece sends messages about continuity, respect for tradition, and the wearer's place within the institution of monarchy. When Catherine chooses to wear jewelry that once belonged to Queen Elizabeth II, she honors the late monarch's memory and acknowledges the legacy she has inherited. When she wears pieces that Princess Diana made famous, she creates a visual connection between past and present, linking William's mother to the family's current chapter. The monetary value of these pieces, while staggering, is almost beside the point. The Nizam of Hyderabad necklace could be worth $85 million, but its true value lies in its history, its craftsmanship, and what it represents about relationships between nations and generations. The lover's knot. Tiara is priceless, not because of the diamonds and pearls it contains, but because of the women who have worn it and the moments it has witnessed. Queen Elizabeth II built her jewelry collection over 7 decades, receiving pieces as gifts, inheriting them from family members, and occasionally commissioning new works. She understood that these jewels were not truly hers alone, but rather held in trust for future generations. Her careful stewardship of the collection and her thoughtful decisions about who could wear which pieces reflected her deep sense of duty and her understanding of symbolism. By granting Catherine access to some of her most treasured pieces during her lifetime, Queen Elizabeth was making a clear statement about Catherine's role in the family's future. The jewelry choices Catherine makes continue to generate discussion and admiration. Fashion experts analyze every piece, tracing its history and significance. Jewelry historians provide context about the craftsmanship and origins of each item. But perhaps most importantly, the British public sees in these choices a reassuring message of continuity. The same jewels that graced Queen Elizabeth II now adorn the woman who will one day be Queen Catherine. The traditions continue, the treasures are preserved, and the story of the monarchy moves forward while remaining connected to its past. While the world admires Catherine's grace at state dinners and her ability to carry historic jewels with such elegance, those who follow her work more closely understand that her true legacy is being built far from the glittering ballrooms of Windsor Castle. Over the past decade, Catherine has dedicated herself to understanding and addressing one of society's most fundamental challenges, ensuring that every child has the best possible start in life. Catherine's interest in early childhood development did not emerge suddenly or as a convenient royal patronage. Instead, it grew organically from her other charitable work, particularly in the areas of mental health and addiction. Through her visits to rehabilitation centers, homeless shelters, and mental health facilities, Catherine began noticing a pattern. Time and again, the adults she met who were struggling with addiction, homelessness, or severe mental health issues could trace the roots of their challenges back to difficult experiences in their earliest years. She saw how adverse childhood experiences created ripple effects that lasted throughout people's lives, often leading to the very problems that society struggles most to solve. This realization led Catherine to ask a crucial question. Rather than addressing these issues after they have already developed, what if we could prevent them by focusing on the earliest years of life? What if supporting children and families from pregnancy through age 5 could actually reduce rates of addiction, mental illness, and social breakdown decades down the line? In March 2018, Catherine took a significant step by convening a steering group to examine what could be done to bring about lasting change in children's lives by focusing on their earliest stage of development, from before birth through age 5. The steering group brought together experts from various fields, including neuroscience, psychology, education, and social work. Their recommendations formed the foundation for what would become Catherine's most ambitious and sustained charitable initiative. In January 2020, Catherine launched what she called the 5 Big Questions on the Under Fives. This was a nationwide survey designed to start a conversation about early childhood across the entire United Kingdom. The survey was conducted by Ipsos Mori, a respected research organization, and included both quantitative questions and deeper qualitative research. Catherine traveled throughout England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland to promote the survey, meeting with parents, caregivers, and early years professionals. The response was extraordinary. Over 500,000 people participated in the survey, making it the biggest public response to a survey of its kind in British history. The level of engagement demonstrated just how much this topic resonated with ordinary families. Parents wanted to talk about the challenges they faced. They wanted to share their experiences, their struggles, and their hopes for their children. The survey gave them a platform to do exactly that. The results were released in November 2020 at a special forum hosted by the Royal Foundation. Catherine gave a keynote speech outlining what the survey had revealed. The findings were organized into what she called the 5 Big Insights. These insights covered how society views early childhood, the sustainability of parental well-being, the impact of peer judgment on parents' mental health, the effects of isolation, especially during the pandemic, and the varying levels of health support available in different communities. The data provided valuable information, not just for Catherine's own work, but for the entire early years sector, helping professionals better understand public perceptions and parental experiences. Building on this foundation, Catherine took her next major step in June 2021 with the launch of the Royal Foundation Center for Early Childhood. This was not simply another royal patronage or occasional charitable interest. The center represented a long-term institutional commitment to driving awareness and action on the importance of the early years. The center operates with 3 clear focus areas: conducting and supporting high-quality research, fostering collaboration between different sectors, including business, government, and charitable organizations, and creating campaigns to raise public awareness. The center's inaugural report, published at its launch, was titled "Big Change Starts Small." This report was developed in collaboration with researchers from both the London School of Economics and Harvard University, bringing together international expertise on early childhood development. The research revealed that the cost of failing to act on early childhood issues amounts to over £16 billion each year in England alone. This figure helped make the economic case for investment in early year support, demonstrating that prevention is not just morally right, but financially sensible. Catherine's commitment to learning and understanding this field deeply has taken her around the world. In February 2022, she made an official visit to Denmark, a country widely recognized as a world leader in early childhood development. She visited the University of Copenhagen and met with officials from the Center for Early Intervention and Family Studies. She also spent time at Stennerton Forest School, observing their approach to early learning, which emphasizes social and emotional development over academic skills for very young children. The visit demonstrated Catherine's willingness to look beyond British borders for innovative approaches and best practices. In January 2023, Catherine launched Shaping Us, a long-term campaign through the Center for Early Childhood. The campaign's goal is to fundamentally change how society understands and values the first 5 years of life. The name itself, Shaping Us, reflects the core message that what happens in early childhood literally shapes who we become as adults. The campaign uses various media, including videos, public events, and partnerships with organizations, to spread this message as widely as possible. Understanding that lasting change requires engagement from the business community, Catherine established the Business Task Force for Early Childhood in March 2023. The task force initially included 8 of the UK's leading businesses, and its role is to demonstrate how companies can contribute to better outcomes for young children, while also benefiting their own organizations. In 2024, the task force published a report showing the business case for prioritizing early childhood and identifying 5 key areas where businesses can have the greatest impact. Catherine has also used creative approaches to reach different audiences. In August 2025, the Center for Early Childhood released a series of 7 animated short films, each explaining different aspects of nurturing interactions in infancy. Catherine was personally involved in the development of these films, attending creative briefings and reviewing storyboards. The animations are designed as tools for professionals who work with babies and families, giving them accessible ways to discuss early childhood development with parents and caregivers. Most recently, in October 2025, Catherine co-authored an essay with Professor Robert Waldinger from Harvard Medical School about the importance of human connection in early childhood development. The essay encouraged parents to limit children's screen time to protect and prioritize face-to-face relationships, which are crucial for healthy development. Through all this work, Catherine has positioned herself as far more than a figurehead or patron who simply lends her name to a cause. She has become genuinely knowledgeable about early childhood development, capable of discussing research findings and policy implications with experts in the field. Her public speeches on the topic are informed, thoughtful, and passionate. She has found her voice on an issue where she can make a real difference, using her platform to shine a light on something that affects every family, but often receives insufficient attention from policymakers and the public. The elegance she displays at state dinners serves an important purpose in representing the monarchy and strengthening diplomatic relationships. But the work she does on early childhood represents her deeper purpose and the legacy she is actively building for the future.